Hey, what's going on, guys? I'm Mr. 4 here. It's been a while since I've done a deck video, since my very long V streak, and honestly I was going to do DBTO3, but then I saw the ban list. I was like, damn, I need to cover it. So I'll be actually doing a few premium deck profiles on this channel. I'm going to be covering two very soon. One is obviously Blademaster, the other one will be Night Rose. So keep a lookout for those. I will still do my DBTO3 deck profiles, just expect them to be a lot later. And besides, I mean, we have plenty of time till DBTO3, so it's not like anyone really cares. Today we are talking about Blademaster, probably the deck that means the most to me that's been affected by this ban list. As you probably know, you can't really stand the vision token anymore, so a lot of people are just like, oh, Blademaster's lost Zazan, it's lost, stands, the deck's dead, it's just not worth it anymore. And to me, then I pose the question, well, it may not be as good anymore, but can it still be played? And the answer is yes, absolutely. Blademaster has been there since the start of G, so if anything, we have a very, very long history. Surely something in there can be used to still be played, and would you know it, most of this deck is actually still from V, but with a bit of stuff from G that reminds you go, oh yeah, we had that. So that's mainly what today's video will be covering. It's going to be on that. My throat is pretty hoarse throughout this video because I'm not feeling 100%, but I just wanted to cover this before anything, so forgive me if I sound different, or in my next video I sound better, I don't know. Okay, now that we've gotten that all out of the way, let's actually cover our great trees. For the main deck, we obviously play 4 copies of Dragonic Blademaster Gzone, as well as 3 copies of the original Dragonic Blademaster. And that really is it for our great tree lineup. So let's cover it, okay? The Dragonic Blademaster Gzone, he has 2 skills. His first skill is during your turn itself, and all tokens that you summon, they basically gain 10k. So as long as your opponent's board is empty. Yeah, as long as your opponent's board is empty. So you can view it as a 23k beater on the Vanguard. You can view the Vision token as a 23k beater on the Rearguard. It's not bad. Vision still has Twin Drive. I mean, yeah, it can't, stand itself, but you still get 2 drives of it after you discard 2 cards. So it's not, the end of the world, if you ask me. In terms of anything else, obviously the summoning requirements for the Vision token when it comes to Gzone is a lot faster than Blademaster, because the original Blademaster here, his skill is more tiered in the sense that he doesn't have that 10k skill. His skill is instead, during both turns, if your opponent has no board, it gains 5000 power plus 1 critical. So if you want to do an early critical rush, you can stack Force 2 underneath the original Blademaster and then get some results. But if not, then you generally, what you do is you just go to Gzone, and then you can just do your normal token plays and just rush. Because even though the tokens are, it's not very good now, but you still get decent stuff. It's still a 23k rearguard beater that has Twin Drive, so there's not much to say against it. It's just not abusable anymore. Beyond that, yeah, Blademaster, the original, he has that 5k crit, so defensively he does help. But both of these are actually V Blademasters because we really, really want that Force marker. The Force 2 marker specifically is just really good for this deck, and I don't think that's something that Blademaster can really pass up on. Moving forward, we are really playing Blademaster the same way as played like in G, where it's just more strike oriented. It just focuses more on that kind of tactics, not really anything, some degenerate loops of any form, but we still need that Force marker, we still need the higher base, and the fact that Gzone does help you if you start first on turn 3, you generally still have something to do with the Vision token, so it's not that bad in my opinion. You definitely don't want to be still playing stuff like the original 2014 Blademaster. Neither would you want to play Cohen. I was considering Cohen, but Cohen didn't age well. He didn't age well enough to really be of any use in this format right now, even with a ban list. So yeah, Cohen gets a hard pass on that. And I mean, when you use Dohan Garan together with the V Blademasters, you do get a board new, so that's pretty cool too, in case you forgot. Moving on to our grade 2s, we obviously play 4 copies of Wyvern Strike Doha, the V version. We play 4 copies of this girl, I think her name is Faja, and 3 copies of Mubidi. I'm going to cover the ones that you guys probably recognize first. It's Faja. Faja's skill is, when placed on V on R, you look at the top 5 for Wyvern Strike Garan or Wyvern Strike Doha, and then you can add 1 copy of them to your hand. So basically it's just a trainer. I mean, because they are very important cards in your strategy, so you do want to see them as much as possible. There's really not much to say, it's just a searcher. And of course, it has this other skill that it is a 15k body as long as you have more rear guards than your opponent. It's basically the Blaze condition, which is easy. It's easy to obtain. It's a good early rush card if you just want to put it down and just swing up for a bit, or just as a regular rear guard in any turn. It just being a 15k body does help. It's not something to really laugh at. But what you really want it for is to bring out your Doha and Garans because they are really influential in your strategy. Speaking of which, Doha. Doha has 2 skills. When placed on the rear guard circle, you may counterblast 1, superior call 1, Garan from your deck. Hey, it's pretty good. We have board passing now. I know Blademaster players used to be able to play the vanilla versions because they had stuff like Temper Spear. You just train them all and spit them on the board. But now you don't have that anymore. There's really no harm in playing the original, not really the original, the V versions, because the V versions train themselves. Once you have Doha, you have Garan too, which is cool. And Doha has its own skill that if your opponent has the rear guards when he attacks, you can only guard with triggers against it. You can't use normal units. So you can G-guard, you can use orders, you can use triggers, but you just can't use normal units. Which doesn't, it's not a great guard restrict, but for what it does, considering the rest of the aggression, I think it's just neat to have that on top of a body that calls something else. So yeah, it's not bad. It's not a wonderful card, honestly, but like I said, Blademaster right now is not like anything great. It's workable for what we have, and I think that's good enough. Last but not least, we have a returning face. It's Mubidi. Mubidi is from anyone who's played GBT11 Card Hero Blademaster. They should be immediately nostalgic to you. So what does he do? Obviously he has the Blaze condition, and then his other skill is GB2. When he attacks, you counterblast 1. This unit gains 2000 power for each of your opponent's open rear guard circles. And if they have none, you can just draw a card. So it's not bad. It's CB1 you draw, and it gets about, say, 10k plus, because we're assuming you nuke the board, right? So it's about a 19k beater with a draw. Yeah, you know, it's GB2, it's really late in the game, but as a rear guard, I think it's still not bad, especially when you move on to, you know, you finish your first strike. Or when you just first strike, because when you first strike, you immediately kind of enter GB2 already because of the first strikes in his deck all being flips. So yeah, I mean, it's not bad. So I run it at 3 because, as you probably guess, on turn 2, turn 2 and turn 3, this guy's quite bricky. But as soon as you pop up a strike, Mubidi just comes back to life. It just works really well. Moving on to our grade 1s, we have 4 copies of Wyvern Strike Garan, the card I mentioned just now. We play 3 copies of the other Dragon Dancer girl, I don't remember her name. 4 copies of the original Lava Flow, and 4 Ermo. Let's break it down. Garan, obviously, is another integral part of this combo. Garan has 2 skills during your turn. If your opponent has no rear guards on a rear guard, this unit gets 5000 power. So it's 13k booster. Nice. His other skill is when he boosts an attack by Doha, that attack hits, you may counterblast 1, draw, and soul charge. I rarely use this skill. Rarely, actually, because we have other ways and means we want to use our counterblast for. But that's not to say that you can't. I guess if you're in a pinch, you can use this skill, but I just don't use it that often. The soul charge is also not say anything valuable because you don't really play much soul blast in this deck to begin with, so it's not very, you know, like, oh wow, this unlocks this. No, it doesn't. It's just cool to have, but really it's mainly here because of the fact that it is Garan and it's a 13k booster. It's a 10k shield, so yeah, not much for the other skill. We play the original Lava Flow. The original Lava Flow is quite obvious. You, when place it, you may reveal grade 3. You search your deck for Blademaster card. You add it to your hand. Then choose 1 card from hand. Discard it. So generally speaking, it's quite obvious that we are looking for Sowen, because Sowen on turn 3 is just so good that you want it out. You want to make sure that this is your turn 3 right, to make sure that Blademaster still has good turn 3s before going into, you know, your whole strike zone and whatnot. So that's really what he's here for. Obviously, Strike Forwarder helps. I know a lot of people do enjoy V Lava Flow, and there's certainly nothing wrong with it. But the problem I have V Lava Flow is it can whiff, whereas with this thing, it's guaranteed to give you your Blademaster. So yeah, and he looks cool. Beyond the point. We play Aramo. Aramo is the card from V that a lot of people remember because it's one of the first few V staples. It has 2 skills. During turn, it gets 3000 power, so it's an 11k booster. It's not bad. It's not bad. Its second skill is that when your opponent's rear guard's retired, you may retire itself, you draw and counter charge. So it's a cycle and it refunds you 1 CB. It's good. Blademaster has had a lot of counter charge options throughout the years. Energy Flame and Alternate, we've had Marcel. We've really had a lot actually. I could easily just build a whole deck full of counter charges for Blademaster, and it's not even funny at this point. But I feel that Aramo has aged well enough throughout V that he actually still would outcompete these other counter charges that Blademaster have, and also because of the fact that he's a 10k shield and he cycles. So yeah, Aramo gets the slot. If you want to play your G era Blademaster counter charges, I think it's fine, but I still feel that this is the more optimal way to go. We play for this girl. Her skill is Soul Blast 1. You may choose any number of Wyvern Strike Garants or Wyvern Strike Dohas, put them to the bottom of your deck, and you get 5000 power for each as a discard. We only play her at the tree off because you only use the skill like once ever in the game, and it's like in the late game when you're running out of stuff. And it's just a nice booster with that large numbers, but beyond that, really not that much. Yeah, but it's just something I play just for the sake of consistency. If you are not interested in really looking out for your late game, if you just want to play a good tempo Blademaster, then I would go as far as saying that you could actually cut this option as well. Moving on to our great Zeros. Our great Zeros. We play... No, that's my G0. We play 1 Wyvern Kid Ralga, which is our V starter. We play 4 Baree. We play 4 Heals. We play the normal heals. We play 1 Drug Vetter. I mean, this should come as no surprise. We play a total of 7 crits. Okay, so let's break this one down real quick. V starter, because the draw is just really good. The quick shield is just nice to have. Very frankly, Blademaster's only good G-era starter was Dedia, and Dedia is locked behind the GB1. I really don't want to wait 4 turns before I end up getting an advantage, when I can just have an immediate draw, and even better, a free 5k from the stars. So I still think Ralga is my starter for Blademaster Premium. Moving on, we obviously play Dragveta. It's your over trigger. It basically just restands the Vanguard when you drive check it. It comes with 100 million bonus attached. There is really no downside to playing this card. You should just play it. If you can't afford Dragveta, just a normal OT will do, but Dragveta is obviously more optimal for Blademaster. Moving on, we play 7 crits. I don't have to explain these crits, just that these guys come with a strike bonus. Not strike bonus, the strike enabling skill. So I mean, that's good to have. We play 4 Baree. Because this deck doesn't need draw, we're no longer about the whole 12, 6 and stand stuff. We can afford to play draws. What better than a draw PG like Wyvern Guard Baree? I really can't really explain much about him, despite the fact that he's just a good PG, he's a good Sentinel, and he does work, because he's a Sentinel, he does work with some cards in our deck, which I'll get to that in a bit. Then of course we play 4 regular heals. We don't play Heal Guardians. You can play 4 Heal Guardians, I just couldn't afford them. Right now they're just really expensive, and to be honest, I still do value the 20k shield because I do want early damage dealt to me for stuff like, my Dohas and whatnot. So I don't mind it, so I'm still playing normal heals, but for most premium decks, you do want to play Heal Guardians, so yeah. Moving on to our Strike Zone. Yes, our Gzone. There are some budget options played here, but they are more likely than not you are going to see what is the skeleton, or at least a good idea of what you can and should bring. There are a few choices that are done based on budget, so let's just start. I play 1 copy of Ascend Grave, 1 copy of Dumbshit Valor. This is the card I would honestly buy more of if I could find. 1 copy of Zenburst. We play 4 copies of Dragonic Blademaster Titan. Wow, what a surprise. The Blademaster kid plays Blademaster. 2 Ziegenberg. Ziegenberg is another card I would really buy more of if I could find it. So let me know if you can find it, because I'm interested. 3 copies of Denial Griffin. 2 copies of Absalam. I think that's his name. 1 of our Progenitor Dragon Gilgals, and 1 of our GB8. The GB8 can honestly be swapped out for Drachma, which I have, but I'm just too lazy. And really, you never use Drachma, so I'm not really going to bring him up. So let's break it down. Engrave, Blademaster's first and only good first stride until G ended. And he was the last card hero stride that Blademaster got. So what does he do? What he does is quite simple. You count +1, you flip 1, you give this guy a skill, and that is when you enter the blaze state, you can sack one of your rear guards, sack one of your opponent's rear guards, and draw. So it's really just a flip, sack 1, and it's a draw. So this card didn't really age well, in my opinion, but it's one of the better Blademaster starters, Blademaster first strides. I'm still playing him also because I can't afford Damjit Valor. So if you can afford Damjit Valor, go ahead. Damjit Valor, obviously, is a great first strike. It's a great second strike. It's a great whenever. Yeah, it's a lot of skills. Blaze, then you count +1. You can flip a card in your G-Zone, choose one of your opponent's rear guards to retire it. This unit gets 15,000 power for every Sentinel in your drop zone. Every Sentinel, every Bari. So basically, this card just really escalates the more times you've used the PG. Because as you probably would know, Damjit was actually a PG once, and then now he's a strike. He's really good in my opinion, so do pick up more. And you'd be wondering, well, why? Why is 15k so good? Because of his last skill. Once per turn, if your opponent Sentinels or G-Guards during your turn stand this unit which is in the blaze state, it gets drive -1. It's a free restand, as long as your opponent panics. That's wonderful. But like I said, obviously, I can't afford more copies of Damjit Valor. I really would if I could, but I can't. So yeah, if you can definitely pick up 2-3 copies of Damjit Valor, I think you're solidly on the right track for card hero. I played once Zambus, he strictly has attack. All you do is flip 1 card in your G-Zone, choose all of your opponent's rear guards and retire it. Choose all of your grade 3 or greater units, they get 10k each. Yeah, he's just there to really just nudge it back in case you want a board nuke but you don't have your G0s and Guardians with Blademaster. You can just use this guy. He's not bad. One off, really. I don't see this guy getting much use besides that really optional board nuke and the 10k. But the 10k is not even that good even, so it's like okay, I guess. Titan, because Titan, I spent a lot of money on this guy when I was a kid, so I'm still obliged to play at 4. How did he age? He aged fine. He's not amazing. Basically, you count +1, flip a card in the G-Zone. As many copies of Titan you have face up, you sack one of your opponent's rear guards. If it enters the blaze state, it gets a crit. So really, he's just here just for the free crit, which I guess is okay. It's not. It's really not that great, but I still think it's fine because you will flip Titans for your other G-Guard costs. And then, when you go to Titan, you can just use it again, reinforce with a few more snipings, you swing with a 28k 3 crit. Not the greatest option, but I think it's still fine, especially if you rather spend the turn sniping, because if you don't need to snipe, you have Ziegenberg. Ziegenberg, great card. Buy more if you can afford it, because I couldn't. Ziegenberg has 2 skills. Mainly, you Soul Blast 1 and G Persona flip himself, choose one of your opponent's rear guards and retire it. That is literally it. It's quite whack. So I rarely use the G Persona flip, especially if the opponent's board is really empty. I just go into Ziegenberg and use his last skill, his most valuable skill, Generation Break 3. So he's mainly used as a second strike or third more. You count +1 and discard 1 card for every one of your opponent's rear guards. You stand this unit, gets drive -2. So basically, as you probably guessed, your goal is to snipe and burn down the entire opposition. Then you get this guy for a very, very low cost of 0 cards to discard and just a CB1. Hey, that's pretty good. There's really nothing bad with Ziegenberg. Like I said, if I could buy more, I would, but I'm just waiting probably for a Japanese premium collection revival thingy. I don't know, but yeah. Ziegenberg is definitely one of the few cards where if you told me it's getting reprinted, I would buy it. Really. Let's talk about our Progenitor Dragon. Progenitor Dragons use the Ultimate Strike mechanic, where, you know, if you have your Vanguard, you must pay the cost of strike with a card of the same name. So basically, Gilgal is our Progenitor Dragon. What he does is Counter Blast 2, Soul Blast 1. This unit will battle all of your opponent's units in one attack. And he gets 10,000 power, and for every attack that hits, you counter charge 1. So as long as you hit 2 or more, you already do a net back. If you hit any more, you counter charge even more. Pretty good. See what I meant when I said Blademaster and good counter charging options? Even the generics do it. And then of course, it doesn't help that Progenitor Dragons, when they dissolve, they give your board state the basic skill of whenever you want to strike from now on, it's free, which is great. So yeah, it's just a good card. It's just a good card. One off, you don't need any more, because all he does is just board nuke plus that little blessing he leaves on the board. Denial Griffin. If you play Premium, you know this man by name. You put them down in Guardian Circle, Counter Blast 1, you sack the attacker. Simple. 15k shield, who cares? He's dead. So yeah, I really don't have to explain. But what I do have to explain is the fact that Denial Griffin is used to combat rearguard attacks, whereas Absalam is used to combat mainly Vanguard attacks. His skill is, when placed on the Guardian Circle, you Counter Blast 1 as well. See? Same skill. But instead, it gets 10,000 shield for each of your opponent's open rearguard circles. So basically, as long as you've been sniping well enough, if you can't replenish the field good enough, you're in for good time. You can easily just farm defenses off this guy. It's pretty cool. 2 copies, because you don't really need that many. I know some people play the Advanced Guard Dragon G-Guard, and that's honestly fine, but to me, I just found myself sticking to this lineup a lot easier. Our GBA is quite simple. You basically just sack a lot of stuff. You give all your units 10k. This guy gets 10k 1 crit if you sack 3 or more. Really simple skill. Yeah. Just a GBA. But you better use this card, because since when do your games last to GBA? Maybe now with the new Premium Banlist. And that's what I want to end with for today's Premium video. A lot of decks have been affected, and that's not a joke. A lot of decks, the better ones, have been hit. So we can't say that, oh, you know, it's going to be the same. No, it's definitely not the same. And I know most people are not in denial of that, which is good. It's good. But now the question is, what do I do moving forward for Premium? I would say the Premium landscape is now diverse enough for you to definitely try your hands at whatever you like to try. Obviously, make sure that what you have has A, enough support to actually work, and B, you know, maybe have some form of history in terms of what older support it can work in conjunction with. Like, don't tell me, oh, I want to play Final Rush Premium, or I want to play a Lyrical Premium deck. And like, obviously not really. But if you want to try something innovative, like, I don't know, Sanctuary Guard Premium, go ahead. You know, that if you had support from the past that works well enough, I would definitely say try. Which is why, even though Blademaster has really lost all of its degenerate edge, I can still lay my friend to rest knowing that we still have, what, 8 years of history, that we can still build a decent deck. It's not going to be, you know, the next topping list or anything, but I still feel that for what it's worth, it's still very operational. We have a very solid game plan in terms of the turn 3 with Gzone, and the rest of the turns is striding. We still have good rear guards, we have decent stuff going for us, we have good drive checks. So yeah, that's pretty much all I can say for this deck. Thank you all so much for watching. If you were somebody who did play Stan Gzone, Stan Blademaster, let me know in the comment section below. What are your thoughts for Blademaster moving forward? Like I said, this is the one big premium deck I'm probably most personally affected by. But to be fair, I really predicted it ever since the 2 Blademaster toppers at the remote tournament that, you know, Blademaster is going to get hit eventually. I should get prep, and I'm glad my vigilance has not worn off. But the one thing I wish I did prepare more was actually try to find the cards I was missing for my G0 more. But you kind of get a good idea of what a Blademaster G0 should look like. So I believe for what I have, it served its purpose. Thank you all so much for watching. I'll see you all next time. Goodbye.